This is a tutorial on the ZwoBot Shift device. ZwoBot is a suite of Max for Live devices that allows you to create visuals inside Ableton. And if you're new to ZwoBot, I'd recommend you go back and watch some of my earlier tutorials. I'll put a link to those in the top right corner of the screen now. And if you'd like to buy ZwoBot, there's a link in the description. So the Shift device basically splits up the visual and moves the different portions of it around. So I've already connected it to my player. I've got this image that I've loaded into one of my video decks, and it's on, but nothing's happening at the moment because it's all set to the default values of 0. On the left hand side here, we've got 1, 2, 4 and 8. This relates to how many portions the visual is going to be divided into. So when it's 1, it's just going to be the original image, it's not going to be split up at all. And then 2, it's going to be split into 2 parts, 4, 4 and 8, 8. So let's just stick with 1 for now. And over here we've got these 2 settings, shift and speed. So I'm going to look at shift first. You can move this yellow part here, and that is going to shift the image up and down. So if I were to select 2, now we get 2 of these yellow controls, and they control each part of the visual. And if I go to 4, then we get 4, and then 8, we get 8. And up here we've got orientation, so you can either have it split on the y-axis, so vertically, but if you click that and change it to X, now we can split it horizontally. Speed will apply some movement to it. As you bring this blue section up, it's going to be faster. And you can have each part have its own individual speed. So you can have, for example, the top part going faster than the slow part here. And when it's down to 0, it won't move at all. And if you want to reset the settings to their default, you've got this R button down here. So if you click that, it'll put it all back to the default settings. Over here we've got these random buttons, so clicking this yellow one will set a random setting for the shift setting, and then this blue one will set a random amount for the speed. If you want to reset them individually, you don't want to reset them all, so I just want to reset the shift setting here. I can click this R button, and that's going to put them back to 0, and this one will put the speed settings back to 0. But it won't reset the position. If you want to do that, you click this reset all. If you click this plus button here, you get individual settings for each one of these segments. We've got 8 altogether because the maximum amount of slices you can have is 8. And I can control each individual slice here. So if you want a specific amount, because it's quite hard to get a specific amount using this, then you can get it on here, and I can manually type it in. So if I want it to be 0.5, I can do that. And same with the speed. If you've got 2 selected here, only the first 2 are going to come into play, because these all apply to if you're using 4 or 8. Everything here has beat controls and audio responsive controls. Down here I can apply a beat control to this setting, which means that it's going to change in accordance with my master beat control on my ZwoBot player, and that's going to be synced to your project BPM. So I'll just play some audio. I'm going to unmute this. This is now changing in accordance with my master beat control, and we've also got a beat control here, so you can have the shift position and the speeds changing randomly. But you also have them on each individual shift setting. If I just want for example, if we've got it on 4, and I only want the first and fourth one to change, I can put a beat control on 1 and 4. And then if I wanted to reset 2 and 3, I can reset both of those. And I can turn the speed off on them if I want them to stay stationary. So now the middle part of the image is staying the same and the outer part is changing, and if I want to add some speeds to that, I can do it like this. We've also got audio responsive controls for all of these, so I can have them respond to the incoming audio instead of changing in sync with the BPM. So let's turn all of these beat controls off, and let's just reset everything. Maybe I'll make the first two change in accordance with the lower frequencies, and then the outer two change in accordance with the higher frequencies. Or I'll have it go high, low, high, low. Or turn all those off. You could have them randomly change in accordance with the lows, for example. So now every time some lower frequencies come through, it's going to set all of those to a random position. And you can do the same with the E speed. So let's put higher frequencies on the speed. So now the speed is going to randomly change whenever there's higher frequencies that are coming through. In the bottom left hand corner, we've got our usual transparency and blend mode controls. So this setting will control the overall transparency of the effect. And then we've got a selection of blend modes here, which you can use to blend the effect with the underlying visual. Now, the only thing here that you can't automate from within the Shift device is this orientation. So you might want that to change as well. So if you do, you can use an LFO. So I'm just going to minimize this, and I can bring an LFO in here and just map it to this. And now this is going to change in accordance with whatever your LFO settings are going to be.